What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Saturday, July the 13th. Where in the world has this year gone? We're going to break down SmackDown from last night. We had all kinds of great wrestling this week. And I've got a sweet crew on this Saturday hanging out with me. Completely multi-continental crew. We're over here in the good old US of A. We're in the UK as well. But let's start out in Philadelphia with our head of opinions, Anthony Ricciardi. What's going on, Ant?
I'm doing all right. During the pre-show, obviously, Clark asked me if I ever licked the Liberty Bell because it's on my hat. The answer is no, in case anybody's wondering in the viewing audience. It was a mediocre SmackDown. And obviously we're going to be covering it. And of course, this is always a fun crew. We've done quite a few Saturday shows, the three of us, so it should be another fun show.
Absolutely. I agree a little bit on mediocre for sure. I've always had a theory when it comes to investigating that it's never the one you most expect or least expect. It's always who you most medium expect, though. So this show may look better in hindsight. I'm kidding it. That's ridiculous. Let me send this one across the pond, though. Just a little pitch shot across the pond, 1 week short of the Open Championship over there. But in the UK, a great friend of mine, Jordy, what's good? Happy Saturday.
Golf. See, that was a golf reference, ladies and gentlemen, and I understood it. Yeah, I'm good, mate. It wasn't the best episode of SmackDown. I chose to stream it. One of the first ones that I chose to stream. Clark, you joined at one point, but I know you said you may have been inebriated, so I don't know if you actually remember that. But I didn't choose the best kind of episode to stream. There wasn't a lot. There wasn't a great deal to really talk about. There was a couple of moments though, and those couple of moments are definitely going to build to bigger storylines down the way. So it'll still be fun to chop it up with you guys and talk about it, even if it was a mediocre episode. We're going to have a great show. So happy days all around.
Absolutely. I got it, by the way, monster shout out because the stream was hilarious. But the way that I watched it and the reason that I didn't stay in much longer was because I was waiting to watch SmackDown on West Coast time since I missed it because we were in the middle of interviewing Missa Kate. So then I had dinner, went to dinner with a couple buddies, whatever, came back, and the end of the stream is on by the time we get back, basically from picking up food. So I throw it on and I'm watching and I'm like, this is really good, but with no context.
Yeah.
Show's not on yet. So I felt bad. I was like, oh man, I got to give him the view for sure. But
I never realized how many adverts there are until I was streaming it last night. And I was like, wow, how am I going to talk through like all of this adverts? Like what we're going to talk about. So yeah, but anyway, there is some stuff for us to talk about. And like I say, what there is to talk about, it's still good stuff.
Plenty of things to talk about. And let's start before we get into our first topic. In case you get sweaty, obviously you're banded up for this show, and I do have to respect that one with the active John Cena retirement tour. Is that a Globetrotters one?
No. That's just, hang on, that's a different one. Never give up.
If that was Harlem Globetrotters, I'd be pretty fired up. That's a cool sweatband. That's the sweatband exception, right? Although who can I complain to? I'm wearing Taylor Swift wristbands, so who can I really make fun of? They're not even Taylor Swift, actually. This one says Mother Wayne. I got it.
People in glass houses, my friend. People in glass houses.
It happens to the best of us.
Listen, Clark, you get enough heat from your comments. Having the Swifties have your back is always a positive for you.
Yeah, that's true.
He is. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan. I've actively worn a Travis Kelce jersey on this very program multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I know I have the support of the Swifties, and that at least allows me to sleep at night. Let's talk, though, about our new women's Money in the Bank winner, which I'm really excited about. We've had a lot of history as far as the women's Money in the Bank briefcase being cashed in on the same night that it's won. Mm-hmm. That is not what we've got this time. We've got a star that can be made by the briefcase and remake the briefcase at the same time. It's Tiffy time. And that's the brilliance of this whole thing. Absolutely. I love the extension of this, adding Bayley to the equation, all of it, everybody involved. And then it leads to what I thought was a really cool match as far as like number one contender type stuff. It actually, in a weird way, you don't often see a scenario where, okay, so Nia Jax, Michin did a great job with the kendo stick and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the match was awesome, but Nia Jax clearly number one contender at this point, right?
Yeah.
For Bayley. We're going to see that big match down the road. Teasing the idea just simply by having them rub shoulders throughout this segment of Tiffy possibly cashing in on that match is something that they really haven't done the last few years when it comes to these briefcases. And I was stoked about that to me, it was a high point last night, the way it was all navigated. It was way more time than I expected, but it was also hard to follow for a reason. Anthony, I know obviously you've got an opinion on this one, but do you see Jax as a real threat to Bayley, or is Tiffy waiting in the weeds as the biggest threat?
I do think this Nia Jax that we've gotten since they brought her back is the Nia Jax that I think they always envisioned. I mean, she is doing the best stuff of her career. So to give her the Bayley's title, I think it would make sense. I do. I think Jax has earned it at this point. You know, she won the Queen of the Ring in impressive fashion. I do want to say, though, before I lose track, Michin, she really is an MVP. I mean, she's doing double duty on NXT, putting women over, and she's putting them over on the main roster. In a lot of ways, it's like the Natalya role, where she's like, okay, they're not necessarily getting behind her, but they trust her enough to elevate other people, which is not exactly an enviable position to be in if you're Michin, because obviously you want to win the world title. That's why you're in the business. Like Austin said, if you're not in the business to be the best, why are you here? But she does a phenomenal job at that. But, you know, Tiffy, it's an enviable position because no female Money in the Bank winner has ever unsuccessfully cashed in. The men they have, the women they haven't. So at least if I'm remembering correctly, they have a 100% success rate. If I'm remembering correctly,
it is.
Correct.
1,000.
Yeah,
don't jinx it. Everyone knock on wood.
No. But I'm just saying, you know, she has that. When she even teased it, I loved the look on Nia's face. Like, oh no, you didn't. Like, you could cash in some other time or on some other champion, not mine. This one. This is mine. Because Tiffy, in perfectly honest, she could cash in on Liv in theory, because that's the one thing she can't. But I love that look from Nia. Even I know it's not in the topics, but I just love the backstage of Chelsea in the neck brace that's bedazzled from her injuries, and she's looking for Nick Aldis to complain.
No, what did she call Nick? Oh, it was one of the funniest. That was the one liner that it got me so good. It was Nicholas the Prickles, or no, it was
he wasn't even there. Like she went in there and she stormed.
It was Nicholas I think it was Nicholas the Prickles, right?
I honestly can't remember.
I can't remember.
It was off the charts though. That line, I was like, and then the best is the one prime bottle after all of the Poland Springs, all the water bottles and then just the one prime bottle.
No, but I think it's an interesting dynamic. The Tiffy Jax thing. You know what it reminds me of is when I guess a perfect example, Undertaker and Kane when they fought Austin in the triple threat for the title.
Fair.
And they were working as a well-oiled machine against Austin until one of them went for the pin. Then it was like, oh no. That's what this reminds me of. It's like you could get involved, but the title's mine, not yours. That's what it reminded me of.
I really like it too. And what's interesting to me is you think about Nia Jax and her trajectory as far as her career is concerned, and her lineage and all of that, how unique she is for this women's division, right?
Talk about the 180.
The memories of her and Alexa Bliss, which I think is the most fondly looked upon period of her career, have been overshadowed by this run. Since she's returned,
yes,
there is no denying Nia Jax and her talent when it comes to this current run.
Oh, current runs.
She is doing the best work of her career by far. By far. Yeah. And that I don't want to say it goes without saying, it must be said 100%. We've also got a couple comments. Bobby Petito with hello, guys. What's up, Bobby? Hey, good to have you always. Bobby. And then I would be interested to see if Tiffany Stratton cashes in at SummerSlam So would we for sure, Jordy? What are you thinking when it comes to this Tiffy, Bailey, and now Nia involved in this storyline?
It is an interesting one, man. Slight disappointment that Tiffy's not customized the briefcase already.
That's
like
annoying.
I thought it was going to have happened. I thought we'd have it by now. She kind of even mentioned it in an interview. Look, everybody knows that I wanted Chelsea to win over Tiffy, and I am a Tiffy guy, but Chelsea's done more to customize her neck brace than Tiffy's done to customize a briefcase. I've done more to customize my briefcase. I had to send that to the far ends of Paris to be done by a old Parisian sculptor. Not a custom job at all, but that's by the by. With Tiffy, I was very excited. I can't lie, I kind of wanted her to do it last night. If you'd have seen the look on my face, it was kind of similar to the look on Tiffy's face, where just a penny dropped, a light bulb moment went, and I was like, oh my God, Bailey's lying down in the middle of the ring. She's the champion. Just cash it in. Just do it. And the fact that they also showed us that she was going to do it, and Nia actually came down and stopped her. She didn't, of her own accord, kind of go towards it and then turn away and go, no. She was fully going to do it. Like, she'd sent it, but Nia came and stopped her. So that is a little taster, I think, of going down the line. Obviously, Tiffy is out for herself. She's the center of the universe. She says it herself, and there can only be one center of the universe. It wouldn't surprise me if she says that to Nia somewhere down the line if she ends up cashing in on her. I don't think, as to what Bobby said, I don't know if SummerSlam, I think they'll give Nia a little run first. Before just kind of having her on the night win it, lose it like Drew did and like many others have. But I think she will cash in on Nia down the line.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I don't know what we do with Bailey in that scenario is my only caveat.
Keep in mind, if she would have cashed in on Bailey and beat Bailey, she has Nia waiting for her at SummerSlam.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's what I thought.
Of anything, it's a smart move.
I kind of wish Nia, rather than going and stopping her, just looked at her as if to say, it's going to be me. If you want this, it's going to be me and you. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect Nia's chances unless she thinks she's got more chance of beating Bailey, which would make sense considering she's laid down in the ring after receiving a beatdown. At that point, you would be like, I'd rather fight that person than the person that's fresh. So I do kind of get that, but yeah, it did cross my mind that I was like, it doesn't make a difference if she cashes in now. You're still going to get your shot, Nia. But yeah.
Yeah, why would you be worried about a title change before you? Right?
Especially with respect to Tiffy. Tiffy's incredible, but you're talking about like a future Hall of Famer in Bailey, you know, one of the 4 horsewomen. On paper, who would you rather fight in a title match? I'd take the newbie. I would. Like, as good as Tiffy is.
Well, and add to that equation, Jordy, that she's calling the Bonsai Drop the Annihilator. Mm-hmm. The Annihilator, that in and of itself as like a motif, she should not care who it is. She's gonna run through them. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's, I think, like, so. As much of a part of the character as anything. We do have some comments over on Instagram, that a couple that cracked me up actually. We've got not 100%, which I hear that. I think he's saying not 100% as in like including both men and women, but the women's Money in the Bank briefcase is 100% cashing rate.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
But this one cracked me up. Eddie Gunn _, did say, "Yo, Dom, what's up?" And I can only assume that's a mustache joke, Jordy. I apologize.
He doesn't have the chicken nuggets.
I've just finished them. I had to eat them before. Okay, I was literally gonna send a photo into the group chat, but I was like, I don't want to lean into this Dom thing too much.
This can't happen.
Oh no.
Oh.
Well, Moving on.
If you guys overdo the comments, we'll have Jordy joining Dollar Shave Club in no time.
I'm gonna have to start wearing bright colors.
I'm stunned we have not gotten anybody asking how's things with Rhea. I'm stunned no one's asked that yet.
No, there's a Rhea question. It says Nia Jax couldn't defeat Rhea Ripley.
Oh, right, there we go. It's nothing to do with me and Rhea.
Already got the setup.
Me and Rhea are tight anyway. I've told you, she's like 2 of my reels now, so we're close. We're basically best friends. So
Rhea and you are very close. I've known all about that. That's a fact.
Easy now. Both married.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm maybe in a funny mood because we're going to get into a segment that's even more difficult to really break down. First
oh,
one.
yeah. This one should be fun.
In my eyes, and I think Garza and Humberto are both talented. I think Corbin's talented, and I think Apollo Crews is talented. I want to preface this by saying that. But I'm pretty confident that wings were clipped on a non-wing. I don't know, like he doesn't have wings. At this stage of his career, Apollo doesn't have wings. So I don't know what you're really clipping, right? It's like I don't know. They won. Does it make sense? Are Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews friends for any reason?
Corbin and Crews. Both last names begin with C.
Don't get me wrong.
We might be able to make a team out of that.
Baron Corbin grilling content guy when it comes to social media. Love it. The guy makes a heck of a steak. I actually used one of his recipes when it comes to like pairing bourbon with stuff. Guy's really smart. Why is he friends with Apollo Crews? When did they even meet outside of, I guess, NXT? But we have to make a lot of assumptions here. And I'm out of assumptions. I don't know whose idea this was. This feels like we got to do something. Maybe rebuilding the tag division. I don't know. I've been complaining about that all week. Anthony, can you speak some sense into this?
Okay, let's see how we work this. Let's see. Corbin, like Clark said, is very big in the recipes, and maybe, just maybe, I mean, Apollo is a former Nigerian prince. Maybe has a few recipes he's given Corbin. Maybe that's what it is. Like realistically, like Apollo Crews to me, he never stuck out to me. And I got to be honest, like I never really saw anything spectacular. I didn't think he can really cut a promo. And I kind of feel like Corbin and Crews, they're at this point, WWE doesn't know what to do with them. And like we've talked about all week about tag titles, the division's not being in depth. Last ditch effort, throw them as a tag team. Add another tag team to the ranks. As far as the match, it felt like a match just as a filler. Like I don't think it's really going anywhere. I mean, it's the never-ending LWO stuff tie-in, and I don't know what they're doing with that, and I don't think they even know at this point. I think they're just throwing stuff out there and hope it sticks. I watched this match live. It was not very memorable, and when I knew I had to cover it, I'm going, all right, wait a minute. Who the hell won this? It really was not memorable. And it's a shame because there's talent there. I think Humberto and Garza are incredible as a team, and you could definitely use them as a foundation to help build that tag division that's been lackluster. Corbin and Crews, I mean, it's the second team that Corbin's kind of been thrown into, and he made the one with Braun Breaker work. So maybe he can get this one to work. At this point, Corbin's not going to be a main event guy. They've tried stuff with him before. Good hand, but whether or not he's somebody who'll be in a main event, no. Same thing with Crews. I mean, it worked for the New Age Outlaws. They kind of got thrown together, and they were successful as a team. Maybe they'll surprise us. But yeah, it was what it was. That's best I can say on that one.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's one of those, like, it's classic. And Bobby Petito added over here in the comments, I liked Apollo Crews. I didn't understand the pair of Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at, Bobby. It's like, I like every talent involved in this match and want all four to succeed. But this isn't the route. This doesn't make sense.
They probably meant the same mixer.
Why are they friends?
Damage Control never explained why.
By the way, you can do oddball tag teams, but explain why. We've seen it. RK Bro, we're watching it with Niven and Chelsea every week. Yeah. They don't fit like a glove.
Do you remember Riddle and Drew for like a month? That was mad, wasn't it? That was weird. McRiddle.
Weird. Super weird.
Anyway, sorry. It just came to my mind for a second. Then I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, I forgot that happened."
No, it's literally went Riddle after the Nuggets joke. You're really going full McDonald's, even though they're not a sponsor at the moment.
It's a good sponsor.
Reach out, McDonald's. Check us out. Okay, wait 1 second. Let me get this really quickly before we move on to our next segment, I got to shout out our friends over at Next Level. If you're looking for more wrestling content, it's all linked in one place. It's really easy. Thriving wrestling community, free zone inside of the app itself. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all of our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. Check it out every day. It's a blast. No gimmicks, absolutely nothing. Let's get into maybe my favorite segment of last night, though. I cannot lie, because LA Knight, yeah. Gotta love it. He's ready. He's got a match. He didn't win the Money in the Bank once again, but he's got a match at SummerSlam with that guy, Logan Paul, that little fluffy-haired blondie, Logan Paul. He's got a match with him at SummerSlam. My favorite thing about this is we've seen a few house calls in the last few years when it comes to professional wrestling, but he's going to take that contract, and I think he's going to take it to the one that the United States champion calls the #1 podcast in the world, Impulsive, and make him sign it on air there. And that, my friends, is how you use digital media to build a wrestling match. That is my prediction. It's not a spoiler. Let's be very clear. It's the exact opposite. I am no Paul Heyman when it comes to this. And we're spoiler free over here at WR. But my prediction is we will see an LA Knight run-in on an episode of Impulsive within the month. Jordy, you probably have seen more episodes of Impulsive than I have, if you've seen any, because I have seen 2. That's my career high, 2 Impulsive podcasts. I got to ask you, though, do you see LA Knight after last night's promo showing up on Impulsive and running wild?
I think it's a possibility for sure. They've announced that Logan will be at SmackDown next week. So I think the way that this would come about is Logan says, I'm not signing it, which I can totally imagine happening. I don't know why. He seems to have been ducking LA Knight. Can't lie, I thought we were going to get this, I don't know, not dragged out, because it kind of went off the boil a bit. We saw kind of LA Knight show up at Logan's and stuff, and this feud was like really picking up momentum. And I was really convinced that Logan was going to show up at Money in the Bank and stop LA Knight from winning the briefcase, and then that was going to feed into this. And that didn't happen. So not complaining or anything, because I want this match to happen, absolutely. But I just find it strange that all of a sudden, like, Money in the Bank's out of the way, and it's like, right, we're back onto it now. I want that US title. But I hope he wins it. I really do hope he wins it. I can't see... Look, I'm not the biggest Logan Paul hater compared to a lot of people. However, this reign with the title has not been great. This was their chance, and his chance, really, to put a bit of respect on his name and a bit of... Not that he doesn't have it from an in-ring perspective, but if he'd have really gone to work with this title, defended it a bunch of times, had a load of great matches, I think even the people who can't look past the personal disdain and still really dislike him may have gained a little bit more respect for him. And they've not done that. They've done the opposite. So that's made people, in terms of being a heel, it's made people dislike him more, which is great in that sense. But it's time to bring that US title back to SmackDown, and it's time to give it to LA Knight. There's no better option as far as I'm concerned. Like, I've been waiting for this feud since they exchanged words back at Money in the Bank in London in 2023. And there's just something about the feud between these two that clicks for me, because they're kind of polar opposites. LA Knight is the one that has worked, has got his break late, and it was a huge break, a meteoric kind of rise up through the ranks because of how fans reacted to him, essentially. And Logan has obviously done a lot of work outside of wrestling and jumped in at the deep end. So I kind of want to see him lean into that, let LA Knight bring something like that up in maybe in one of his promos. But I think we're seeing LA Knight back at his best. We're giving him the microphone again. We're letting him riff. We're letting him rip. he stumbled once last night, but it's not a huge deal at all.
It didn't even really matter.
No, he's best when he's got a microphone in his hand. I love him in the ring, but he is best when he's calling people out in that kind of Attitude Era Rock-esque sense. So yeah, the more they do that with him, give him the title, give him a reason to be arrogant as well, and let's do it.
I am so with you, and I think that's why I'm so laser focused on this impulsive run-in thing. Is like we're so
it makes
close,
sense.
And I think back to Adam Cole and McAfee.
Yes,
and that was so close to similar, right? It was at the time. It was like, wait a minute, was that real or wasn't it? It was pretty clear. Okay, like short jokes. Let's stop. Adam Cole's not like, but this one. Adam Cole was in a different position as far as a wrestler than LA Knight's in.
Yeah.
If LA Knight runs into Impulsive and, like you said, microphone in hand, grabs that microphone and signs off the show, and they had a legit guest for the first 75 minutes, and then in minute 76, it's and he runs in and the room clears because everyone's scared, and he closes the show. I mean, that's superstardom, astronomical, and it makes the United States title. It makes all this work that Logan's put in valuable to the WWE.
It's blurring the lines. So if he shows up there unannounced and they sell this, it could very much be like when Jerry Lawler showed up on Letterman and slapped Andy Kaufman, and everyone went, wait, is this a work? Like, granted, wrestling fans will know, but the impulsive audience that maybe doesn't follow him in wrestling will go, wait, what is this?
What's going on?
And, Logan's been the slimy champion. So he barely skates by, which is the opposite of when Gunther was the heel Intercontinental champion. So I'm okay with him being slimy because it works for him, and LA Knight chasing him makes sense.
LA Knight's got previous as well. He went and got AJ. He's been to Logan's house, so it makes sense for him in his character. It seems to be now a character trait that if you run away from LA Knight, he'll just come and get you.
He'll find you. Yeah, and the idea of him showing up in a leather vest and jeans to punch Logan Paul in the face in the middle of a podcast, and to see like Mike and everybody else scurry. You need the funniest. That image would be so viral and so funny and do so much for LA Knight.
Yeah.
You know what it would remind me of if he beats him up on the set? And I always go back to this Triple H beating up Orton and throwing him out the window of the house. And like that visual of him like just beating him down where he wasn't supposed to. I think that would be great.
Like, even though it's Piper's Pit, obviously it was his own show on that one. You can almost do it in a way, but in a babyface way in today's day and age, because it's not his show. Where if he gives you 2 minutes after he lays out Logan, and then the guest leaves because of fear, and Mike leaves because of fear, and he grabs the microphone and Logan lets him talk on Impulsive for a couple minutes, that could be one of the coolest booked pro wrestling things we've seen in the digital age. It's really like a strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, if they do it right, for sure. For sure, if they do it right.
Correct. It could be enormous and launch LA Knight even further towards the stratosphere.
What if LA Knight takes it over like we saw years ago when Bischoff and Hogan took over the Tonight Show? Like he takes over for a short period of time.
I think if we see that we've got like a WWE superstar or a wrestler as a guest in the coming weeks, I think that's when they'll do it as well. Because I think it'll give the WWE will also be like, go and watch this because this happens in it. So the rest of the episode will have content. Do you know what I mean? It'll have.
So, to your point, that's my only fear though, is that'll be the Telegraph. Who's on?
For us, it'll be a Telegraph for sure. Yeah. But for people watching, I don't think it'll be like as much. You could even have like like you do the classic, or it's say LA Knight versus or Logan versus say Chad Gable, but then you come out and LA Knight's just beating up Chad Gable, and we're walking down to the ring, and LA Knight just turns up because that's the thing as well. On Impulsive, they quite often will do a 10-15 minute segment before the guest turns up, and the guest turning up is part of the podcast. They'll be like, hello, they'll So they'll film them coming in and stuff. Yeah, so they could be saying, we're expecting this person to come, and then all of a sudden a big bang clatter, and LA Knight turns up, and they're like, whoa, what's happened here? You know what I mean? So that could be definitely an avenue that they could go down it. But yeah.
I just think the image, too, of the rest of the crew running out of the room out of fear is like, you can't turn that one down. But to your point, though, about the, like, I get the having a wrestler on. It would be so cool if they just had a random guest that may be a wrestling fan. This is a good sport. If it's like Denzel Washington, they're cutting Gladiator 2 stuff, then all of a sudden LA Knight ends that interview. Like,
if they do like maybe one with like KSI or something, because he's a recurring guest. He quite often turns up, and he obviously knows the game. So yeah, that might also be another flag that could signal the megastar rocking up on Impulsive.
100%. And honestly, I'm excited about it. It feels like I was worried about LA Knight into Money in the Bank over the last few months. Felt like steamed lost. We'd seen kind of similar, almost with the Acclaimed on a different scale, right? Where it was like, oh, the most over to like still over, but not the same.
It got old.
This feels like, okay, we're back on track. Okay, we did not forget about LA Knight. We definitely did not. But let's talk about Blair Davenport and Naomi last night. Naomi looked awesome in this match. So did Blair. I had no problem with it. I thought it was actually for the time it was given, it was, what more can you ask for? That full Nelson slam, roll up, exchange, everything. Like, it's a good look. We saw 2 outstanding professional wrestlers. My only issue is I don't know necessarily what it means next.
I think in a lot of ways we've been seeing Naomi reignite what she had in WWE before she left. For those of us that saw her in TNA during her run, she really kind of came into her own. We're seeing that in WWE again. In a lot of ways, I think this was mainly to try to establish Blair, trying to establish her as a talent that people should be keeping their eyes on. Obviously, a feud with Naomi, an established star, former women's champion in both WWE and TNA, could definitely help her. I thought it was a solid match. And then afterwards, Blair going, hey, all respect. And then she jumps her from behind. I think that's a smart move to further try to build Blair up as a credible woman in an already stacked WWE roster of women, plus all the ones that are in NXT that are coming in. So I think it was a good move. I think it further elevated Naomi, and it also gave the rub to Blair, and that's going to continue in a rivalry that doesn't involve the title, which they don't always have to involve titles to make somebody. And I think that's the direction it's going. You're on mute.
That is totally fair. Yeah. I was on mute. Yeah, it's just the division's really deep, which is good. But some stakes would have added a little bit of sizzle to this match, to say the least, is be the only thing that I would say. But other than that, I don't have any complaints because it's just a well wrestled match all around. Now let's get into our next one though.
Yep.
We've got, this just makes me sad. We have Do It Yourself against a clever name down under, A-Town Down Under. Theory, is he even from Atlanta? I'm just asking.
You always say no.
I don't think he is. I think he's just,
he's from Georgia.
That's still Usher's gimmick. That's all I'm saying. A-Town Down. I'm just saying. That was an Usher thing. You got to give Usher credit. The guy discovered Bieber. But either way, Do It Yourself takes on A-Town Down Under. Looking like a breakup here. Definitely. With A-Town Down Under. And then the Samoan werewolf runs in. And that guy is scary. Jordy. Jacob Fatu is not a tag team, but could he win them as a single star?
He's a scary chap. He definitely has got a presence about him. I'm not going to say the word, but he's definitely got something about him when he comes down to the ring. I can't remember, or I struggle to remember, and it's strange because I would say Braun Breaker as well. But people to explode onto the scene in this fashion, the way that they are, I think it's great for him, and it's great for us as viewers as well. And he's coming at such a high level. I wonder where we are going to go with this, because this guy is talented, like really talented. He shows what he can do in the ring. He's hard hitting like Gunther. When he hit a moonsault last night, I was like, no, he shouldn't be able to do that. But he did. But anyway, back to the tag match itself. I think we are headed for a breakup. That, speaking of telegraphed, that is telegraphed. Looks like Theory's going to be the face. How we're going to deal with that, how we're going to kind of navigate this. How are they going to make me care? That's the question I guess I'm asking. Because right now I do like the guy. But I just feel like they need to get this right, because he's on borrowed time, and I want to see them get it right. There is something missing. He's never recovered from when Cena destroyed him with a promo, and kind of a light bulb moment went on for everyone. I went, oh yeah, actually that is it. You've said exactly what it is. We don't care. I want to care. So I want him to be put in a position that makes me care. Credit to Grayson though. Grayson's a great heel, so he may be able to do that. It's certainly a possibility. Theories looks like the one that's trying to always help Grayson. Grayson's looks like he's the one that's been a bit up his own behind, for want of a better phrase, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I like DIY as champions. I called it. I can't be bothered going to find it. If you go and find a daily from months ago, I said that these guys will be. I said that these guys will be champions because we need face champions to take it off the blood for the bloodline to come in and take it off. So it was the right call. The story as well. The story doing it in the same arena that they did it on NXT. It was great. So great to have the moment, a good reason to transition the titles and have some transitional champions.
I hear you there, especially, and honestly, Regeneration X, in a weird way, was such a great one-liner, but I do think it affected the way that this was viewed, the title change. I think in a weird way, it helped until it hurt. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, that's really funny. Yeah. It was entertaining and really funny at the time, and then you're sitting there and you're like, this is a joke now.
It was funny when R-Truth said it, but when they started kind of leaning into it themselves, it's like, no, you know you're not Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Like, that's not the joke. The joke is that R-Truth thinks you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into our main event of the evening, though. Let's talk about Solo, the other tribal chief, the maybe tribal chief, someone's tribal chief, the rest of the bloodline. Fatu's obviously out there. He just clears the ring. Jacob Fatu, I think, is just like a human wrecking ball. Like, he's as close to Umaga as we've seen in years. That guy just is like a shot out of a cannon. That suicide dive was like, humans that size should not.
And I love it as well. And he took that DDT off Ciampa and just got straight back up. It's like, I don't remember seeing someone do that kind of thing for a while. Like, obviously we think back to the Canes, the Takers, that moment of just like looking up, and it was like, oh dear, I messed up.
You're in trouble now. Like, it's wild. So then we have Cody. Randy Orton gave him his word that he'd come out and help, and boy did he. It was a fun moment. I thought it was a high point of last night was just Orton making the save for the time being. Couple interesting side notes. That triple power bomb. That's an interesting choice. That's an interesting choice by Solo Sikoa and the rest of the bloodline with no Roman Reigns.
They've been using it for a while. They did it to Paul.
They've done it to Paul now, but this one felt even. So the Paul one felt like, oh, it's just logical. We can do a 3-person move. Yes, the Shield. You thought a little Shieldish. Everyone knows, right? That's listening. If you're listening to the show and you don't know about the triple power bomb and the Shield, come on. I'm sorry. But
spoiler alert.
The second this one, I was like, oh no, that's like that's a shot. That's a direct shot now, right? An obvious one. The way that they did it. And I'm wondering if this is a tactic to accelerate the process as far as Roman Reigns returning. And Jordy, I want to toss that question to you first. Is that where we're getting to?
I don't know if it's going to be SummerSlam, mate. I don't know. Obviously, Cody said that there's going to be a title match at SummerSlam. Did it get confirmed, or did he just say that I'm going to speak to Nick Aldis and I'm going to make sure it's confirmed? But we are heading that way now. I do completely understand that Roman's music hits in that match. Who is he going for? Who is he going for? Is he going for the person that took the belt off him, or is he going for the person that took out the wise man, that took out Jimmy, and is taken the Ula Fala? And that's an interesting one, and that's why I'm like, I don't know if as good as it would be, does it make sense for him to come and take Cody and take Solo out and help and essentially help Cody of all people, not just anyone else in a match, or Jey Uso, for example. Like, he's helping Cody take that belt off or keep that belt away from his family. So it would make more sense for me for Solo to win, and then the music hits and Roman says, I'm coming to get my belt, my title back off you. But does Cody lose the belt at SummerSlam after running so long to finish the story? Like, and with all the Homelander teases, could this be the start of a potential heel turn? I don't know where we're going with this. I really don't. It's got me questioning all sorts of things in my head, which is a good thing. So it means you're booking it well, but it's stressful. It's as a fan, It's stressful. But I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure whatever they've got planned, it's always good.
To your point, it's a fine line. It is stressful because you're like, man, I could see this, I could see that. I want this. I want, right? Like,
when you start to want, it's that hope that kills you, and then you get disappointed if it doesn't happen, and then you think, and it's tricky, especially when you're trying to cover it like we are. You get your heart set on something, then it doesn't happen, then you've still got to go and talk about how good the show was, and you're thinking, well, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, and then you actually realize how silly you sound when you say that.
Yes. No, it is brutal. Anthony, I'm going to ask you next, though, and this is a super important question, because Jordy and I have covered this one. Your thoughts on the segment, but more importantly than that, if you had to pick a date, and I'm not saying to the day, but like PLEs wise, when is Roman coming back?
SummerSlam.
Okay.
He's coming back SummerSlam. In answer to your question, the triple powerbomb, logistically, yes, obviously the triple powerbomb is the smart move to get Paul up, but it was done intentionally. Paul is like a father figure to Roman. It's the same week he lost his father, and they put him through the table in the move that's synonymous with Roman. These are all shots from the false king. This is all shots from Solo as he's doing his best to project he is the tribal chief, but nobody believes it. He's trying to convince everyone that he's the true tribal chief. That's the whole thing. I do think he returns. If it was Cody against Jacob Fatu, okay, I could believe Jacob beating him. Solo's not the guy. I don't know if Solo's ever going to be the guy. Yeah. He's cosplayed as the guy. I don't think he's the type to carry a title unless it's transitional, but I don't see them transitioning to Solo to give it back to Roman. I don't think they're doing that. I think Cody's holding this till Mania, but what I think will happen is there'll be a ref bump. The music will hit because the bloodline will be down. Whether they bring in Orton and KO to fight some of them off, maybe Jimmy, maybe they fight some of them off, and then it's down. Roman comes down. He has a choice between Cody and Solo, and that's when he takes out Solo and calls Solo the match.
And then the place will erupt in a cheer.
And one small thing, Jordy, when you talked about when Jacob taking the DDT and not selling it, my mind immediately went to Haku. Because there's so many legendary stories of like him getting maced by the cops and he sucked it in. Like, that's what that reminded me of. Like, oh, I screwed up, like big time. So that's what it reminded me of.
I think as well, in a way that we could potentially get Solo back on the right side of the game, and how maybe the plan is for Solo way down the line is, I think we all have a inkling that the final boss might be the one pulling the strings behind Solo. Yeah, that then diminishes the character that Solo's trying to create. If then there's a storyline of Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Solo has the story arc of going back to a face to take down The Rock, then maybe they create the Solo that they want to create, perhaps. But I want to see Solo recreate Rikishi, saying that I did it for The Rock. That's literally the only reason I want this to happen.
Full circle, father son.
By the way, you just gave me an absolute like light bulb. I'm like, we joked about literally this week on the show. When he spears the Fiend, you're just a freak in the mask, right? You're just cosplaying me. When he spears
the Temu chief.
And so but by the way, the full circle moment of the heel turn we wanted for 4 years to the face turn.
That'll be like Hogan's heel turn, but the opposite of that. You know what I mean? But it'll be that cheer if he turns and goes and takes out Solo. It'll rock Ohio to its core. There'll be an earthquake.
You think you're me? Perfect, right?
Perfect example.
You're just a freak in a glove.
WrestleMania, Rock Hogan. Rock was supposed to be the face. That crowd cheered for Hogan and turned him. It's the same thing with Roman. He's earned the respect the fans want him as a face.
Jam your thumb in that neck. Sorry.
It literally took 2 weeks for the "We Want Roman" chants. And it took 2 days for the "Thank You Roman" chants. It took to the Raw after Mania.
Raw after Mania, yep.
I felt like it was like 2 seconds, by the way.
No, it was the next day.
I swear it's that, man. I have a theory that it started at the Hall of Fame anyway. I think that was when he did Paul's induction speech. I think even me really wanted Cody to win, but I just was like, I've just fallen in love with Roman all over again now. And
with Joe.
With Joe. Yeah, with Joe. Yeah.
100%. Okay, we are up against the time, and that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. Of course, on behalf of me, Anthony, and Jordy, check out all of our other stuff. If you haven't already smashed like and subscribe, please do. It means the world to us. All of the support. We've got a sweet interview, Sunday Night Spotlight tomorrow. Missa Kate, check it out. One of the hottest free agents in all of pro wrestling. Hanging out with us for over an hour, too. You're going to love it. We assure you, but thank you once again. We'll be back same time, same place. Wait, no, tomorrow's different because of the Euros, is it not?
I think it's an hour early.
Come on, England.
We're an hour early tomorrow. Thank you, Jordy. We have our resident UK guide here to save me on that. So we are 1 hour early. That's going to be 11. That's going to be 2. 11 in the Pacific, 2 in the East. That's going to be 7 o'clock UK. And that makes that 8 a.m. in Hawaii. Have an excellent Saturday. Thank you so much.